let me ask a question just to drill into this concept of products. When you talk about products in this context, do you mean like what data services products that are used internally, or do you mean digital enablement of customer-facing products, or both?
Well, a little bit of both. So when I think about data products, we think about it through like 3 layers, is that there's foundational data products. And for banks, when you think about how data needs to come together based on domains, you can think about payments as a foundational data product, yep. Loans, deposits, right? And that's foundational. And it all should be shared, right? We should have one version of payments, one version of loans. Then when you think about more of those, that second layer to those data products, which is more integrated, it's how do you pull these bubbles, if you will, together for a common set of use cases, right? So those integrated products that could be a finance and risk mart, if you will, on your EDW or your data lake or what have you. And then you get to the more aggregated products. And those aggregated products are the actual product that you might be selling, right? So that could be how you onboard clients, could be how you originate loans, right? We're a bank. So that's how we think about data products. It's a very, very smart strategy. I have a new head of data products that has designed it, and it really is, I think, the right way to be looking at data products across the organization.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. So they're essentially they're tied to your go-to-market and your operations, which
it's always tied to business value. It's saying, here's this aggregated product, whether it's client onboarding or servicing or your CRM, and then it's walking backwards through the integrated data that needs to be set up to the foundational data products that need to be governed.
Yeah. So I happen recently to have done some risk management work with a bank, and the legacy system is fiendishly complex, like just not to sugarcoat it at all. So, my impression is that banks are dealing with kind of an extra complicated problem that you've got, not even bimodal, it's sort of multimodal. In many cases, you've got like AS400s or sort of marts upon marts upon marts and data marts that are being used for kind of quasi-transactional purposes. Like, how do you deal with all that? And, could be in the risk management space or in any of those you mentioned. Is there kind of an example for how you've attacked both unraveling that from a long-term perspective, but kind of letting those things continue to exist until they can be, eventually we would hope stubbed out at some point?
It's all about having a good plan. I hate to say it like that, and it's hard. I get it. Look, this job is not for the faint of heart. Yeah. I've said that a number of times. You are going to embark on unwinding years and years and years of deferred maintenance on investing in, just data management, right? We got to clean out our closets, and that's a challenge. No one wants to get rid of their skinny jeans. They think they're going to fit into them, but we still have them. And, that's those old marts, those databases, God forbid, sitting under people's desks, and they're running processes on them. So I think one is important to articulate a very concise strategy around what you want to accomplish. So do you want a simplification around reducing all your data marts and moving into one hub, like a data lake? If that's the case, having a really good plan around how you're going to realize business value at the same time, divest those marts, and don't forget to divest the marts, because that's what I think CDOs kind of get in this trap of, is that they're like, okay, we're going to go build this new thing over to the side, and then we're going to just migrate to it. Well, the migration takes a long time. But what takes even longer is to actually shut off the old data marts and data assets. So, I think it's all about having a really strong plan. hiring the right talent and people, and getting into the real nitty gritty details around what's most valuable to the business.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point about the retirement, because I think this is sort of it's a known Achilles heel of like systems rationalization. That, you know, it's much easier to stand up well, it's not easy, but it's straightforward to stand up a new system. And your story is always like, oh, I'm going to replace all the dogs and cats, but then, you know, somehow you still end up running the animal shelter. You know, and it's a bit of a mess. And I think it's a very good point that that's probably even more true and also less well understood in kind of the mart space.